theme song. All right. Ooh. All right. Feeling good? Getting ready? Antonio, would you mind throwing a message into the Discord to let people know that we're live and getting started? Oh, um, I had it pulled up on the screen, so I was getting it back. Bonus. All right, cool. We got some people getting in here. All right, I see a nice little handful coming in. Good, boys. Good. I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready. This is about time to kick off. And with that, let's actually go ahead and begin. I see enough people here. It's worth getting started. So, welcome everybody to the very best part of your week, to your favorite thing that you do, the best part of your week. It's called Live with Jack. Hi, I'm Jack. And today I'm going to be debunking some of the most common dating myths. And I'm going to tell you how to reframe these things in your head so that they stop preventing you from meeting the right girls and you can actually start to meet the girls you want to, the good ones, the real ones, and building those real connections and those real relationships. But if you would like to truly enjoy today's lesson, take it to the tip top, reach the height of humanity, the culmination of all of civilization, all you need to do is grab your glass, your mug, or your flask, a chalice, a stein, or even a cask. Raise it high. Let's make a splash. It's time now for our libation bash. Toast the night and enjoy the mood. Together now, we drink some booze. On your mark, let's not wait. It's cheers with chaps, so don't be late. Oh, our sounder. Cheers. Wonderful, magnificent. And with that, let's go ahead and begin today's lesson. So we're going to jump right in with the myths that, can we get more light on here? There we go. That's better. Yeah, that's a bit better. My stupid camera's not working well, but whatever. Who cares? So we're going to jump right into some of the myths that I've seen a ton of guys believe. These are your requirement myths. And I've seen so many people say, oh, no, you can't date these days unless you're at least 6 feet tall and make at least six figures and have a 6-inch dick. And you have to have all this stuff and you have to be rich and handsome and famous. And no, stop. Go ahead and stop right there. That's, first of all, just patently untrue. And it's not even something that's supported by a basic look around, right? Anywhere you go, pay attention to the people who are coupled up. Do most of those guys look like they are supermodel guys and billionaires or whatever? Like, of course not. Of course not. So you naturally know instinctively that that's not really true, but it might feel that way sometimes. The thing is that there are attraction triggers, and those are some attraction triggers. So if a guy is really tall and hot, then he can use those attraction triggers. But if you're not, that doesn't mean that you can't attract women. It just means you are using a different attraction trigger to be effective. So again, some of these things, right? Being rich, being famous, being hot. Yeah, these are great selectors. But what are some other things that women actually like that attract them to men? A good sense of humor, the ability to banter, the ability to be fun, being exciting, being interesting, living a cool life, whatever that means to you or to her. And here's the secret that most women don't want you to know. Their lives are boring as shit. So your competition is actually pretty low to be interesting or to be cool or to be exciting. So you can use those things. You can use your sense of humor. You can use your personality. You can use all this stuff to improve your attraction with women. You don't have to be rich or famous or hot or tall or stacked or hung or any of that stuff. Because, right? Look at me. And I've never had any trouble. Well, since we started getting into this stuff, I haven't been having trouble with meeting and attracting women. Why? Because I'm using different attraction triggers. I'm not trying to rely on these. If I were going around trying to be like, I'm the hottest guy in the room, look at me, it wouldn't work. Why not? Because it's not true. But I can be the funniest guy in the room. I can be the most interesting guy in the room. I can have the best conversations, tell her the best stories, things like that. And that works brilliantly. So all you have to do is just stop thinking about these things as the only attraction triggers and realize that there are dozens of other things that you can do to be attractive to women. The next myth is that you have to be in the right place, that there's a limited meeting ground where, oh, you can only meet women online. You can only meet women through dating apps, or you can only meet women through Instagram, or you can only meet women at the bar, or you can only meet women at the club, or you can... Again, very obviously untrue. Even just looking around in the world, you can tell that this is not true. Why? Because women are everywhere, right? And so if there are women in a place, you can talk to them. I know, sounds crazy, Jack. What are you talking about? Talk to women? Yes, talk to women. And you can meet them anywhere. You can meet them on the street. You can meet them on a train. You can meet them in a cafe. You can meet them on a plane. You can meet them here. You can meet them there. You can meet them anywhere. Just like Dr. Seuss taught us all those many, many years ago. The reality is that there's no limit to the places where you can or can't meet women, except the limits you put on yourself. I regularly meet people and talk to people and approach people everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. And that's the actual winning strategy. Instead of limiting yourself to only being able to do this thing in this one place at this one time, you have to open up your mind to the fact that you can meet women anywhere. Let's see here. Everywhere? Any women here in Jack's chat? I doubt it, but who knows? Who knows? Anywhere that there are women, you can meet women, right? So use that to your advantage. You should be talking to women everywhere. And not just women, right? Be an outgoing person. Even if you're not naturally an outgoing person, you can use what energy you do have for things like that. And you can have small little conversations with people everywhere you go. It doesn't mean you have to go full Jack, right? You don't have to be like an energy monster like me. That's not what's required. All you have to do is just have these small, low investment, low commitment interactions with people everywhere you go. And what's going to happen is as you start talking to these people, and when I say low investment, low commitment chats with people, I really mean low. Like, how you doing? You having a good day? Yeah, cool. Rock and roll. See you later. And then that's it, right? It doesn't have to be anything big, nothing amazing, right? Anybody can do this, no matter how introverted you think you are. But what's going to happen is when you start doing that, just talking to people anywhere you go, then you're going to have more opportunities to talk to women. Because remember, lads, women are people too. Really, though, you have more opportunities to talk to women, and you have a much higher likelihood that you're going to meet a woman who you're both mutually attracted to each other because you have more opportunities, you have more chances. And the fact is that women are naturally attracted to somebody who is confident and able to just start a conversation with a stranger. Here's the secret, though. It doesn't require that much confidence. It's very, very basic conversations. And because people are naturally going to be polite, at least socialized people, right? They're naturally going to be polite. If you start up a very basic, like an elderly person conversation. I think I originally got this idea from Roosh way back in the day. But the idea of the elderly conversation is basically if you're sitting on an airplane with an 80-year-old woman next to you, what kind of stuff would she talk to you about? Right? That's your elderly conversation. And those elderly conversations are great because they're super low investment, low commitment. You can do them with anyone. And it's just basic politeness. But When you start those conversations, when you start doing that thing, talking to people, you will make more connections and you'll have more chances to talk to more women in more places, because there is no limit to the number of places where you can meet women. Now, let's look at these next ones, these negative Nancy's, our pessimism myths. This one, the good ones are all gone. The women are all terrible these days. There are no more good women. Oh, my man, listen. If you keep catching radioactive fish, you're probably fishing in the wrong fucking pond, right? So think about this, right? If you keep meeting terrible women, or you keep attracting terrible women, probably, which is more likely? Actually, let's do this as a thought experiment. Let's do this as a mental exercise. Which one is more likely that over the last 10 years, literally all the women in the world all decided to just be horrible, terrible, no good, very bad human beings, or you're looking in the wrong place and you're doing something that's attracting the wrong types of girls? Which one of these is more likely, right? Let's be real. You're probably looking in the wrong places. You're probably doing something wrong to attract the wrong types of girls. If everybody you meet is an asshole, probably a problem with you. If you smell dog shit all day, check the bottom of your shoe. You've heard these adages before in talking about mood and talking about personality, things like that. Now just apply that same concept to dating. If everybody you meet is terrible, it's probably because you're doing something wrong. Now, don't mishear me. I'm not saying you're terrible. I'm not even agreeing with you that they're terrible. But what I am saying is that there's something wrong with your approach. Might be in the wrong place. Might be putting on the wrong presentation. So you're attracting the wrong types of girls and you're repelling the girls who you actually want to meet. Maybe, very likely. And if you don't know about the 14 types, if you don't know about who these women are and how you can meet them and where to find them, then you're just flying blind. So what you should actually do is you should click the link in the description right now, and you can come over to my website where you can sign up for a free one-on-one call with me. Or if you don't feel like doing that, maybe you're too shy, that's okay. You can access the video courses in there. They're super affordable for everybody because I want people to be able to get all of this information and learn all this stuff without having to break the bank to do it. So you need to find the right places. If you're meeting the wrong women, you're going to the wrong places, or you're packaging yourself wrong. And that's actually what we're going to get into next. We're going to get a little bit more into the packaging. Now, we've talked about this some before, but this is another myth, or rather a self-belief that I've seen guys take on. And it's the most damaging possible belief that you can have. And it's this idea that nobody will ever like me. No girl would ever love me. Nobody would ever be interested in me. Nobody would ever like me. Okay. First of all, absolutely, again, verifiably, provably untrue, because there are people in your life who like you and want to be around you. So therefore, the problem is not that people don't like you. The problem is that people don't like the package that you are presenting, right? And I'm not talking about your package here. I'm talking about how you present yourself. Which version of yourself are you showing people? Whenever you go out, whenever you're talking to people, when you go on a date, when you're approaching on the street, when you're chatting with a girl online, whatever it is, you're showing her a part of yourself. You're showing her a side of yourself, but you're not doing it intentionally. You're not doing it purposefully. You're not actually thinking about it and planning, hey, this would be the best way to show this side of myself so that it would attract the type of girl who I want. And if you're not doing that, then of course you're not going to get results, because you can take the best food in the world, but if you wrap it up in a shitty little bag, then nobody's going to want to buy it. Right? Same thing with anything else. Packaging can make all the difference, regardless of the inner quality. Same is true with you. Same is true with dating. So toss out the belief. Seriously, toss this out. Get rid of this immediately. And never say this again. Never say nobody will ever like me. Nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. Don't do that. Instead, say, okay, right now, people aren't liking the version of myself that I am showing them. Why would that be? How can I change that? What parts of myself should I show instead? What would this type of girl be interested in seeing? I'm not talking about lying. I'm not talking about making things up. I'm talking about which parts of yourself you show her. The same way that I'm a different personality here on these live streams than I am whenever I go out to the bar. Why? Because this is informative, like almost Professor Jack style, where I'm going through all this information. I'm trying to get all this out there, being a little bit entertaining, but mostly informational. Mostly I'm giving a lecture. I'm teaching you guys about these different concepts. But whenever I go out to the bar, I don't do this stuff. Instead, I'm showing them a different side of myself. Both sides are true. Both sides are real. But that side is for meeting people, making friends, doing all that, big energy, lots of laughs, things like that. Here, it's about something else. So you need to choose which parts of yourself you show in different situations. And that includes when talking to women. If you're not having any success with women yet, if you're not having any luck, then you need to work on putting together the packaging that's going to be more attractive to the types of women you want to meet. Next myth. Women or dating aren't worth it. This is the MGTOW thing, right? This is the MGTOW thing. The guys are like, women just aren't worth it, and so I'm just gonna do things on my own, and I'm gonna, just women are the worst, right? Okay, listen. Here's the thing. If that's actually how you feel, and you feel like it's not worth your time, it's not worth your energy, then go do that. Right? Then go on about your way. But stop thinking about it, right? Stop worrying about it. The same way that I never think about my 8th grade math teacher, right? I never think about her. Why? It's not worth it. So I just actually don't think about it. I don't talk about it. It's not a part of my life. Whenever I see guys, though, who have this belief, a lot of times what will happen is they become so singularly focused on women are the enemy, women are awful, women are terrible. Listen, if that's what you actually want to do, if that's what you actually believe, go do it and forget about it, right? Forget about women, forget about dating, forget about trying to bring people over to your side because it doesn't matter, right? It's not worth your time. It's not worth thinking about. Then get past it. But I think that most people who end up here actually don't really believe it. Or maybe they see the value proposition as a negative or a losing value proposition, but they still want the thing, right? So in that case, you need to actually figure out what it is that you want. Figure out what the value is that you're looking for, because there is genuinely value in having a good relationship. There is great value in meeting girls who you actually enjoy spending time with, somebody who you can share your life with, build memories together, that you can support and she can support you through hard times, things like that. Listen, just like having a friend is important, having women in your life who actually enrich your life and make it better is really, really valuable, and it helps a lot. But again, if you're only meeting shit women, then you're right. It's not worth it. So you need to figure out how to set up your packaging correctly, how to find the right women in the right places so that it is worth it. Because that's the thing here, is that it's just a value proposition, and you're seeing that, well, women aren't worth it. I want them. They provide this value for me, but they take this thing. Okay, cool. So find the women who don't do that and who do more of this thing. Find the women who are a better value proposition, because they are out there. They are out there. There are women out there. You just need to stop trying to meet women on Tinder, being like, oh, why can't I find a wife on Tinder? Right? Like, come on. Of course, right? They're hoes. They're for the street. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But don't just eat from the bottom of the barrel and then say that they aren't worth it, or that dating isn't worth it, or that women aren't worth it. Like, come on. You know that that's disingenuous. Now, let's move on to the next set of misconceptions and myths. We are breaking bad advice here. This first one, I've seen this one quite a bit, and we've touched on it a lot in some of our other live streams, especially for the guys who live out in the countryside. We've gone into this a bit more, where they have a pre-date message marathon. Well, they'll match with a girl online or something like that, and then they'll be messaging for days, weeks, sometimes even months before trying to set up a date and actually meet. Mistake, right? I can understand that sometimes it might be necessary because of scheduling, because of distance, because of things like that. I can get that, but do not feel like this is a thing you need to do. In fact, it should basically be the opposite. I'm going to change the order here because I think that these two actually match together really well, and talk about the 3-day rule. Now, if you guys are old enough to remember things like Seinfeld and stuff like that, like old man stuff, I know. I'm an old dude. That's okay. But in Seinfeld, they popularly talked about the idea of the 3-day rule, where if you get a girl's number or you get her contact information, that you shouldn't message her or call her for 3 days so that you don't come off as seeming desperate or needy. Listen, that advice might have worked in the 80s, maybe in the 90s, but right now, that is absolutely terrible advice. You should throw it out the window and you should actually flip it entirely. And you go with the new 72-hour rule. I like this rule, even though it's still the 3-day rule, right? But it's the new 72-hour rule. And all that this is from the time you first interact with her, whether that's you do the approach, you match online, you meet her at a bar, whatever it is, you have 72 hours to be on the date with her. Not to set up the date, to be on the date. So if you meet her on Tuesday night, you have until Friday night to be on that date. And the sooner, the better. This is a very important thing, because the reality is that if you're messaging a bunch back and forth at the beginning, before you even ask her out, before you even get things started, it's not going to work out well for you. Why? Because you can only generate interest online. You cannot actually build attraction online. Only interest. That's it. So if you want to actually create some kind of a relationship with her, you need to meet in person as soon as possible, because that's where attraction is built. That's where you actually find chemistry, right? That feeling where you two click. That can't really happen through texting. Not really, not genuinely. It's only interest at that level. And interest is fine. We need interest to get to attraction. Yes, absolutely. But if she's already matched with you, or if you're already texting, or she already gave you her number, you already have the interest. So quit fucking around, ask her out on the date, go out together in person. You must do this. So 72-hour rule. From the time you first interact with her, however that is, you have 72 hours to be on the date. Now, maybe, and I've heard some guys out there say like, oh, well, she pushes back and she says, oh, I don't want to meet, we don't even know each other yet. Like, yes, that's correct. We don't know each other. So I want to get to know each other, and we can do that in person, over a coffee, over a beer, over a fucking pizza for all I care. Doesn't matter. In person. Meet in person. If she's pushing back, then either she's not interested, you're not building enough rapport between the two of you, or you're suggesting something kind of skeezy that's setting off her alarm bells for some reason or another. Now, I've talked about this a little bit before. Whenever you are getting bad results, there's a good chance that you're setting off alarm bells for the girl in some way, shape, or form. This is usually caused by incongruence. Now, congruence is the act of being the same on the inside as you are on the outside, being true to yourself, being real, being who you say you are, acting the way that you truly feel, like that. So if you're trying to hide things, or if you're trying to lie, or if you're trying to exaggerate, or things like that, people can feel that. They can feel that incongruence. Now, they might not know exactly, but they can feel that there's something off. Here's the thing, though. With women, whenever they get a feeling, when you're incongruent, when there are alarm bells going off in their head, something just feels off. They don't know if you're lying about your job because you're embarrassed about it, or if you're a fucking serial killer. She has no way to tell because the alarm is the same. Because something being slightly off is the same warning for both of those things. So if there are alarm bells going off in her head for any reason at all, she's going to run for it. This is why if you're trying to set up a date and she's just not having it, this is why. Because she's still kind of interested, but she's got the alarm bells going off in her head. She's worried about something. It's okay. Just move on. Don't worry about it. Recalibrate, right? Actually fix your problems, fix your congruence issues, fix your packaging, whatever it is that's going wrong there, right? But if she's not interested, she's not interested. You have the 72-hour rule. After that, may as well delete the numbers, right? May as well just, Instagram. May as well unfollow them if you're doing it on Instagram or whatever else. And that's something I'll get to later. So here we go. Date counts before escalation. This is something that I've seen guys advise or believe before, where they said like, oh, we shouldn't do anything physical until the third date or something like that. There is a value to things like that, but understand that these numbers are totally arbitrary. They don't mean anything. These are not actually rules. This is not something that you actually need to be worried or concerned about or anything like that. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. You're just making things up. If for other reasons, for religious reasons, for personal reasons, for relationship development reasons, whatever it is, you want to take things slower physically, you can do that. But you do not have to do that. Okay? And the same is true on her end, right? If you try to push for things physically and she says, oh, no, not yet, next date, something like that. Okay. All right, that's fine, right? You want to make sure that she's comfortable, that she's on board with it all as well, of course. But don't feel like you have to wait or make up arbitrary numbers in your head about, I have to do this thing. Why would I, start touching her? Why would I break the touch barrier on the first date? Man, you need to make it very clear from the beginning that you aren't friends, that you're not in the friend zone. And the easiest way to do that is to break the touch barrier, begin physically escalating, and not in a crazy way, right? You touch the arm, tap the shoulder, laugh together, kind of, hugging, a kiss on the cheek, things like this, like low commitment, low level touching, but you want to build that physical comfort between the two of you. That's how you actually start to develop the physical relationship and it starts to turn into something more. So don't feel like you have to wait. You don't. You can get started on the physical escalation right away. And as long as she's on board, as long as she's having it and she likes it, you're good. You're good to go, man. Stop trying to place arbitrary rules on yourself. It's only going to slow you down. All right. Next one down here. Being a nice guy or a friend first before trying to develop a relationship. This is a strategy that I feel like everybody knows naturally is wrong, but people still try to do it because it kind of seems right. It seems a little bit tempting. Listen, this is a losing strategy completely. You're basically walking out onto the basketball court and refusing to touch the ball for the first 3 quarters of the game. Like, well, why? Just don't stop. You're so off the team already, right? Same thing here. This is a permanently losing strategy. This does not work. This cannot work because you're setting yourself up as somebody who's in the game but refuses to play the game, right? Don't do that. Instead, I'm not saying be an asshole, not that. It's not the opposite of being a nice guy. It's that being a nice guy TM is an absolute losing strategy. Everybody hates those guys because it's fake, because it's false, because it's slippery, it's slimy, it's a lie, it's not real. You're trying to hide your actual intentions to try and trick her into liking you so that you can reveal your true intentions. What a terrible way to try to start a relationship. That doesn't work at all. And whenever I say that, you can hear that. I'm sure you hear that. That's like, oh yeah, that is pretty shitty, right? That's awful, right? Imagine if you went to go buy a car or something and they refused to tell you the price until you already signed the contract. That's kind of what this is. Stop doing that, right? Stop trying to be the nice guy or the friend and then like, I'll swoop in there and catch her and she'll see how wonderful and amazing I am and whatever else. Dude, stop. It does not work. This is the wrong way to go about it. You want to be honest. You want to be real. You want to be open. You want to be congruent, right? Tell her what you're really thinking. Show her how you actually feel. Because if you're trying to hide it, if you're trying to just like, I almost said squirt. If you're trying to like worm your way in there, you're trying to worm your way in there, it's not going to work well for you because she's not going to see you as a romantic partner. She's not going to see you as a prospect. She's going to see you as the weird guy who tips his hat and does stuff for her. That's weird, right? It's not how she's going to see you. So don't do that. Don't do the friend thing. Don't do the nice guy thing. Absolutely. Losing strategy does not work. Nice guys finish last. You know this. So stop doing that. Our next one here is the interview and the agreeer. Okay. I can't spell. Interview. There we go. Much better. Duct tape production 101. So, the interviewer. This is the guy who gets out on a date with a girl or starts a conversation with her, and then he just shoots question. And they're not even that interesting most of the time, but it's just a ton of questions like, hey, so what's your favorite candy? So, like, where did you grow up? So, tell me more about you. So, The interviewer, the guy who just keeps asking questions and peppering her with questions, this is a really uncomfortable thing. You do not want to do that. Yes, ask questions. Yes, talk about her, but don't just pepper her with questions. Instead, what you want to do, actually, let's finish. Let's get over to the agreeer. And I'm going to put these together so that you can understand what to actually do and how to have these conversations. The agreeer is the guy who, no matter what she says like, oh, I like chicken. He's like, oh my God, dude, I love chicken too. What? Chicken is so good. Yeah. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm a researcher. He's like, oh bro, I fucking love science. I'm even in the Facebook group that I fucking love science. Trying to relate every single thing back to himself, trying to agree with absolutely everything she says. Stop both of those things. Instead, you want to have a natural conversation, and you can use both of these things because agreeing and finding points of commonality is helpful. That helps to build the bond between the two of you. But so does having points of contention, things that you disagree about, or things about you that she doesn't like or that she doesn't find to be tasteful or perfect or whatever else. These are good things too because they show that you're real. They show that you're congruent. They show that you're a human. Okay? So you don't need to agree about everything. That's okay. But here's the other thing is that with the interviewer, with the questions, you don't need to be asking her a million questions. Instead, what you do is you want to thread the needle a little bit and go back and forth between these things, right? So you ask her a question, and it could be a basic question, right? Like, what do you do? I'm a librarian. Like, huh, that's interesting. What made you want to become a librarian? Like, I enjoy the library too, and I used to go a lot more when I was younger, but I never even considered being a librarian. What got you into that field? Cool. There was a little bit of agreement. There was a little bit of a question there, right? So I did both. I followed up, but I followed up with an explanation that ties it to us in a kind of natural way. This is real. I did enjoy going to the library a lot. When I was younger, I would go all the time. I really never thought about being a librarian. I really am curious how one even becomes a librarian. Do you need like a certification, or do you just show up and say like, I like quiet places and I'm really strict. I love the Dewey Decimal System. Like, how do you become a librarian? Okay, that's a question that she probably doesn't get asked very often. You want to ask the follow-up questions, the why, the how, things like that, digging a little bit deeper, but without peppering her. Oh, a librarian? Is that fun? Is that cool? Do you have cool people come in? Do you ever like have celebrities come in? Is it mostly children? What do you have to do for your work? Do you have like long hours? Do you have to work on weekends? Do you have to? Oh, stop. Relax. Ask her a why or a how question that lets her elaborate, that lets her tell a story, that lets her explain some things. And you can also bring yourself in on some of those things, or you can choose not to as well, right? You could also just say, wow, I had no idea that it was that hard to become a librarian. I mean, like, my job, all I had to do was just set up a shitty webcam and I get to talk to people all over the world. It's awesome. No qualifications needed. Just lots of practice in the field. Huh, your job, you talk to people online? What do you do? Are you a YouTuber? Something like that. We do stuff on YouTube as well, but and then you kind of keep it going, right? You have that conversation together. You want it to feel a little more natural. Ask questions, yes, not so many, and not basic bitch questions. Ask your whys, ask your hows. Stop agreeing with everything. It doesn't have to be agreement. Sometimes not agreeing at all. Sometimes disagreeing. Sometimes just outright indifference. Like, oh, well, I didn't know that, but now I do. Cool. And that's it. You don't have to be on the same page on everything. You want to be a little bit more natural. You want to be a little bit more human because, like I said, that's what shows that you're real. That's what shows you're congruent. So do that. Next, this is our last one on this list, but we still have more. I just ran out of room on the whiteboard. Okay, so this one, this is a belief that I've seen a lot of guys have, especially whenever it comes to approaching, is they'll say something like, I don't want to bother her. I don't want to bother her. Okay, listen. First of all, if you're interesting, if you're fun, if you're cool, if you're doing all the packaging stuff correctly, then you're not going to bother her because interesting is always interesting, right? Second, if you do bother her, she'll let you know. She'll just say, sorry, no thanks. I'm not interested, whatever. And then she'll go on and she'll forget about it 5 seconds later because it doesn't matter, right? You're not actually bothering her. But here's the real reframe. Here's the mindset shift. Would you feel like you were bothering her if you were walking up to ask her to give you $10? Yes, you would, right? Because you would be bothering her. But would you feel like you were bothering her if you were going around trying to give away $10 to as many people as you could? No. You wouldn't feel like you were bothering her at all. You would feel like you're giving her an opportunity and she doesn't have to take it, right? She doesn't have to take your $10, but you're offering something. You're not trying to take something. And this is the mindset shift that you need to make in your head. Because most guys, especially when they're starting out, feel instinctively, they feel naturally that they are asking to take something from the girl. They want to take her number. They want to take her on a date. They want to take her out. All of this stuff, they want to take her home. They're taking, right? But they're not offering anything. And that's why they feel like they're bothering her if they approach her. But if you learn how to package yourself correctly, if you learn how to talk to people, to have great conversations, to get things up and moving, you're offering to improve her day. All right. Now, again, just like with the $10, she doesn't have to take it. But if she doesn't, that's her loss. It's okay. It's all right. I don't mind keeping the $10. I don't mind not changing her life. That's fine. Somebody else will take it, right? Because I know that I have a great offer. I'm not trying to take anything from her. I'm offering to give something to her. I'm offering to give her a great experience, a great day, a great conversation, a great laugh, whatever. I'm offering to her. And so that's why I don't feel like I'm taking. I don't feel like I'm going to bother her because I'm not. That's the difference. Once you reframe this in your head, once you understand you're not bothering her, you're offering something cool, something great that she can take if she wants to improve her day, if she wants to have a great time, then this fear goes away completely because you understand that it's fun, that she enjoys it, that for a woman, attention, especially positive attention from a guy who she finds attractive or interesting, that is always worth it. So don't worry, you're not going to bother her. You're going to help her have a great and wonderful day. Now, with that said, I see some of you guys in here are watching. Some of you guys are new. If you've made it this far in the live stream and you haven't done it yet, please pause for just 1 second. Down below this video, hit that thumbs up button, hit the like button. It really does help me a ton, and it helps the channel to grow. It helps more people to get this message so that fewer people are out there bothering women, so that fewer people are out there with these pessimistic beliefs in their head. So go ahead, hit the thumbs up button, show me a little bit of love, help the channel grow. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now, with that said, we have more myths to bust, but like I said, I ran out of room on the whiteboard, so we're going to bring in our Italian stallion, Antonio, who's coming in to help me bust the rest of these myths. So let's go ahead and bring you in, buddy. Oh, Antonio.
Hello, everyone.
Hey there. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Jack. Oh, how's it going? I just heard your whole lessons about many misconceptions about women and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I gotta say, I have done all of these things in the past.
Well, and here's the thing: is that I have too, right? Like the reason that I know these and the reason that I know how to fix them is because I've also been there. I've done these things.
Yeah.
I've made these same mistakes. And so I also know how to fix them, which is great news for you guys. Let's move
And
on.
just as you said earlier, there's many other misconceptions that we want to cover.
Yes. Yes,
Yep.
there absolutely are. Give me just 1 second. Okay. And let's jump into them. So, what's our next myth that we're going to be busting today?
All right, so this comes straight from the community. Let's see. Okay, so basically getting more comfortable being yourself around girls because, oh, if I talk about like things she won't, think they're interesting and stuff, I might turn her off kind of vibe, Like, for example, when you talk about yourself and she might find you boring, maybe because you're talking about something that you feel it's interesting for you, but you feel like maybe it not be interesting for her, right? What do you feel about like that kind of situation? Should we just try and speak about things that she likes, or should we like find out and be stalkers and try to find topics that she's interested in? Or
There are. Let me put it this way: you can make any topic interesting, or you can make any topic boring, right? It depends on how you do it. Listen, I once took a girl out on a first date, and she was asking me about my plans for, or like what I did on the last weekend or something like that. And I told her that I met my friends to play D&D. And then she was curious because she'd never heard of it. So I told her, I explained about what D&D is for like an hour, and she loved it. I know it sounds crazy, right? And I would never advise somebody like, talk about D&D on your date. But she loved it because I was explaining it in an interesting way. I was finding a way to relate it to her. Like, have you ever felt like this thing, or have you ever, wondered about this thing, or like, what would you do if you could do anything and there were no real world consequences for you? Like, okay, cool. Now we're talking about like this idea of
I
a
will
fictional
basically do
world.
everything, honestly.
Huh? What's that?
Yeah, I will probably do everything that in my mind comes as, no, I can't do this. I'm going to look like a dumbass or something.
Right. But
Yeah.
what if you were freed from all of that stuff? What if you could be somebody else? But then after you're done, right, you just pack up your bag and go home. And everything's fine. And so I was explaining this stuff to her, and she was hooked. She was really into it, right? So even though the choice of topic was less than ideal, right? It wasn't something she knew about. It wasn't something she cared about. But if you explain it in an interesting way, if you find a way to relate it with them, you can make any topic interesting. The problem that most guys have is that they talk informationally. They don't talk emotionally, right? And so like the example I just gave of like, what would you do if you could do anything at all with no consequences at all? Okay, cool. That's a purely emotional question, right? And then I can explain like, okay, cool. So in this game, it's a collective storytelling game, and me and my friends, and we create this world in our minds. There's nothing physical. We don't have anything except for these dice that just decide, do we succeed or not at whatever crazy shit we come up with. And all of a sudden you can feel the emotion, instead of me saying like, well, first we create a character sheet, and let me tell you, a wizard is an excellent choice, because nobody fucking cares. Stop the information and talk emotionally. If you find a way to connect with her, any topic can be interesting.
So you would
but also,
say talk about it with her, but only about what makes you feel, like what emotions it gives you, and also try to make her feel the same emotions or something like that.
You want to find a way to connect it to her or something like that. If you're talking about interests, right? If it's something she doesn't know about, okay, here's a reframe. Here's a mindset shift that you can use on this. Tell her about it like you would tell a 6-year-old child about it, right? Because if you talk to her about it like you would to a small child, then you're going to explain it in like a fun way. You're going to explain it in like, I'm not going to get really technical. I'm not going to go into the information, because it's a fucking 6-year-old. He doesn't understand. So I'm going to tell him about how it feels, what it does, how we can do it. So that's how you should talk about pretty much any topic. And if you do that, then any topic you talk about will be fun, will be interesting. Hell, that even breaks the language barrier. Like whenever I'm out with girls who don't even speak any English out at the bar or something, and then it's like, right, but if I can tell them something at a basic level, but it communicates the emotion, then it wins every time. They're interested. They're here for it, right? So that's what you want. You want to speak more emotionally, like not passionately. Passion is good, but speak emotion directed and find a way to relate the things to her.
Yeah, all right.
Make sense?
It actually makes sense.
Okay.
It's actually better than just spilling out information about. I mean, you play video games, so you know how it feels like when trying to change tactics or something, or maybe trying to choose a class, or maybe to find the right strategy to win and stuff.
Yeah.
Imagine spamming everything, just like I've done. This was, of course, when I was a kid, of course. So basically, it doesn't even matter. But
sure,
it sounds actually pretty stupid if you think about it. I will just spill out the beats about something that the girl doesn't even care about it, if you think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that doesn't even know about. Maybe doesn't even want to know about.
Even if it's a topic that she cares about or she finds interesting, if you do it in a boring way, it will still suck. Girls love music. Girls love guitars. They love people who play guitars, right? Awesome. I can tell you about a guitar and make it sound so fucking boring, right? And I can tell you like, yeah, listen, I've been playing the guitar for 15 years, and like every day I have to practice all of my major and minor pentatonic scales. And it's really tough to get the patterns down exactly correctly because the fret spacings are so different. Like, oh my God, I'm going to put you to fucking sleep. When instead I could just be like, yeah, listen, you have no idea how many times somebody has been like, hey, can you play Wonderwall? And I'm like, fuck off. Right. I can talk about it in a fun way, or I can talk about it in a boring ass way. The topic itself isn't the make or break thing. It's you. It's how you go about talking about it, right?
Yeah, all right. We have also a comment from Sadi.
All
I
right, yeah,
have found
let me
out.
click him in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have found out when girls tell me, "Oh, you're crazy" in a funny way, or "Oh, you have many friends," and then giggle, it's a sign of interest. And I'm just
Yeah,
being myself, feeling more confident in what I'm saying.
yes. That is exactly correct. If a girl is commenting on if she's commenting on your social status or performance or however you want to view it, right? If she's saying you have a lot of friends, if she's saying like, oh, you must say this to all the girls, something like that, those are all signs of interest, right? Because you're
Mm.
doing something differently, something that most people don't, something that most guys don't. And she's noticing it and she's picking up what you're putting down. So absolutely keep on going with any of that stuff. If she calls you crazy, it's just great. You're like, oh, listen, if you think I'm crazy now, wait until I get a few more tequila shots in me. Then it's going to go wild. Why? What do you do when you're drunk? I start breakdancing, but really, really badly, right? Like, whatever. You make some stupid shit up. Make her laugh. That's the point. Have fun with it.
Mm.
Have a good time. Lean into it.
Yeah,
What's our
right.
next?
Oh, yeah. For second questions, then we have straight up from the community again. Oh, yeah. The fact about the age gap, he's way too old for her, right? Maybe the opposite. Maybe she's way too older for him. What the hell is she doing with a younger guy than him and stuff? Um, Personally, I think that's just stupid, but just for an extent. All right. Let's say that, for example, okay, of course you can't date. I'm gonna say something stupid and obvious. You can't date minors, of course, if you're 18, and maybe you try to go for a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old and stuff.
Yeah.
But if she's like more emotionally mature and she's between the age like of maybe 16, 17, right? Or maybe,
If you're
18.
18,
Huh? Sorry?
let's
Yeah, yeah. But
everything out of that. 18 and up only. Okay, cool.
yeah,
But
I'm saying like that because in Italy it works differently, but
sure,
it also depends on the country. Like
right.
for the United States, it's 18-year-old and above. And but the fact is that even if, for example, the guy is 30 years old and the girl is 18 years old, and I mean, if they fit well, I don't see why the thing could just not work out, just because of an age gap. Like,
Yeah.
let's say that you meet the love of your life, for example, straight out from the Disney movie, maybe 0.0001% chance out of all the girls in the world that you will ever meet in your life. Like, won't you do it? For example, won't you actually try to make the things work out with this girl? That's at least how I think about it. Honestly, I don't know about you, Jack.
The the age gap itself absolutely does not matter. It does not matter. Now, will some girls not want to date a guy that much older than them? Yeah, sure. Will some want to? Yeah, sure. Age is just like anything else. Have some girls said no to me because I'm white? Yes, absolutely, definitely. Would some girls say no to you because you're black? Yes, absolutely. Would some girls say no to you because you're Italian, because you're American, because you're tall, because you're short, because you're old, because you're fat, because you're bald, because you're hairy, because you're whatever? Everybody makes their own choices, right? Forget all of that other stuff. Forget all of that other stuff. You just focus on finding the right types of girls for you and setting your presentation in a way that's going to be most attractive to that type of girl. Because it doesn't matter if she's 18 or she's 42, right? If you like her and she likes you, you're golden. That's it. Now, will other people talk about it? Will other people say, like, oh, that's kind of creepy? Jack, he's 37 and he's talking about dating an 18-year-old. Fuck him. Fuck him, right? Who cares? If I buy a car for more money than most people would pay. They might say the same thing, be like, "Oh, he's crazy. Oh, that's weird. That's wild. I would never spend that much money on." Ah, fuck you. I'm happy with the deal. The car dealer's happy with the deal. Both parties are happy. Same thing here, right? If the guy's happy and the girl's happy, who gives a shit? That's it.
Yeah.
Forget all the other stuff. Forget age gap. Forget height. Forget skin color. Forget.
How about, for example, when you're, when you're in a difficult situation that maybe your family doesn't even approve of that. For example, you both probably say like, "Fuck your family," in a sort of way. But
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe with those traditional strict values and stuff, how will you handle a situation like that?
With situations of good friends or family not approving of something, or okay, if they're actually good friends and actually good family, then what they will do is they will tell you how they feel about it. They'll say, "Listen, I really don't think that this is a good idea." And then they'll shut the fuck up, because their job is to tell you one time, to give you the warning, to give you their thought one time, and then shut up about it, right? Because then they're just there to support you. Even if they're right, even if things go wrong, even if things go badly, like, they're just there to support you and to help you at that point. If your friends and family are disapproving of something, you should listen, right? You should listen and consider those things. Take what they're saying and actually think about it, assuming that they're good to you, that they have like a good relationship. They actually have your best interests at heart, right? Then take what they're saying, think about it, consider it. But at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with your own decisions. And here's an interesting thing, actually. Women, generally speaking, right? Nothing in the world is all the women or all the men or all the anything, right? But generally speaking, women have regrets based on actions they took. They have action regrets. Men very rarely have action regrets. Men usually have inaction regrets. Regrets that they didn't do the thing, that they didn't approach the girl, that they didn't ask her out, that they didn't try, that they didn't start the business, that they didn't write their book, whatever. Men usually have inaction regrets. So, that in mind, take the advice from your friends and family, listen to it, hear what they're saying, consider it. But at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with your decisions. And if your decision is to either do something or not do something, you're much more likely to regret not doing the thing. So give it a try, give it a shot, assuming it's legal, right? Again, we're not dealing with any minors, we're not dealing with anything like that. But take a shot. And if it fails, it fucking fails, right? If your friends say like, "Oh, don't date her, she's too old for you," or she's a cougar or whatever, like,
yeah, have you seen these relationships where like there's an 18-year-old like married with a 70, 80-year-old and stuff?
yeah.
Yeah.
Relationships can be whatever you want them to be. They do. Other people don't have to have relationships the same way you do, right? A lot of people get into relationships for emotional reasons. A lot of people get into relationships for personal reasons. Maybe people get married for visa reasons. Maybe people get married for tax reasons, for financial reasons. Maybe people get married because it's a transactional thing. An 80-year-old dude says, "Listen, I have a shitload of money. You're hot as hell. I want to keep you around because you're very pretty. And I want you to only spend time with me. And in return, I'll give you a lot of money." Okay, if they're both happy with it, it doesn't fucking matter, and it's none of anybody else's business.
Yeah, pretty fair, honestly.
I would forget the age thing. Back when I was in university, my brother was dating a woman who was like more than twice his age. She had 3 kids. She was divorced, and he was dating her for like 6 months or something, right? Like, who gives a shit, man? Look, they both liked it. They were both happy. They both knew what it was. Like, they weren't going to have like a serious long-term relationship. Her oldest son was almost his age, right? But It's fine. Yeah, like it doesn't fucking matter. It's nobody else's business.
Yeah, no, I mean totally fair. So we jump to, let's see. Then we have, aside from the age gap, which I totally agree with Jack, by the way. Yeah, so she's out of my league, so I shouldn't talk to her. Okay, so this is basically my type of situation. Okay, I want to give you. It ended like shit, honestly. So, but I want to give you my opinion on it.
Go for it.
There was this in high school. There was this 10 out of 10 girl, which we went into separate classes, right? I was like, now the school system in Italy compared to United States is completely different. But just know that we went to completely different classes with different subjects, etc.
Sure.
I was in love with this girl. Not actually in love, but infatuated. You know when you have these like kind of feelings for someone and you want to go for it and see what happens.
Sure.
I was about for 3 to 4 years over the heels for this girl because I was basically at the time at least at 4 out of 10, realistically speaking, and she was up here, right? So I said to myself, okay, I try to make the thing more realistic as possible. Okay, I probably don't have a shot with this girl, but let's see if by improving myself, maybe my social skills and stuff, let's see if I can actually get to a point where I can actually do something, all right? So I actually take some introspective work on myself, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. So it took me a couple of years before trying something, right? And the thing is, I waited about 2 to 3 years instead of going at it immediately when I tried to improve all these things. And then when I actually went to actually have a conversation with her, at first things were going like extremely well, all right? On the surface, at least. We were talking, we were actually having fun, we were talking about our teachers, we were talking about our classmates and stuff. Sometimes we will also take 6 to 7 hours of text game only from morning to all the way to 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It was actually amazing. Until then, I tried to, after about, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks, I tried to immediately go at it because I was inexperienced. And I went on the topic of, hey, do you actually like someone? Do you actually have an interest to someone else at the moment or anything like that? Then we had a discussions about the guys that she liked in the past. A conversation about the guy, a particular guy that she liked. And from there, I understood that, okay, she might not actually be very interested in me. She might have took the friend zone approach with me, just like you were talking about, right? And this was the mistake that I've done. I wasn't straightforward with it. I tried to play the nice guy with this girl, and I failed miserably 2 to 3 weeks later because she thought all this time that I was trying to be friendly with her. And as soon as I got kind of angry about the fact that she was actually talking about this other guy here, I cut completely the conversation off from her for about 1 to 2 days, and I was trying to sort of test her, and I figured that she didn't really like me. She really thought that I was trying to have a friendly approach with her. She really thought that I wanted to be a friend with her, which means that if I try to to actually try to tell her that I liked her or maybe go on a date with her, which eventually I asked, it will have failed. All right. So my point is to all these stories: if she's a 10 and you're a 3, and realistically speaking, you know deep inside that maybe you don't have a shot, or maybe you have lower chances with this girl, I wouldn't say do not try it because you actually have one chance with this girl in any case. But first of all, don't do the mistake that I've done, trying to be the nice guy approach like I've done. And secondly, at least the right thing that I think I've done is making some introspective work on yourself, emotionally and even physically if you can, like training and stuff. No, I know that Jack doesn't completely agree with that, but I personally think that it will actually help you a ton. All right, it's like it's not the first thing, but it will. I think that you can actually go from a 3, 4 to 5, 6, or maybe even 7 if you're genetically, good on these kind of things. I don't know about Jack's opinion on that. If us men should actually try to approach higher status or higher level girls, or like 10s, 8s, 9s, even if we're 3s or 4s. I know that you talk about in your live streams that we should take like 3 to 2 points, either
2 point
below
back.
or above that. Like if I'm at 3, I'm gonna try to do a 4 or a 5, etc. So I don't know what you think about it.
Right. So I've talked about the 2 point spread a few times before, and that's for serious relationships, for a long term kind of thing. But before I get into answering that question, I want to pull up this comment real quick because this one made me laugh. ZMAX says, when Jack asks people what they're looking for, one night stand, shorter long term relationship, girlfriends, he should add in wife for visa option there as well. I think I just might, buddy.
Yeah, he's right.
Look, in all seriousness, like if you're looking for a thing like that, or if you're looking for like, I want a sugar baby, like, okay, cool. There are girls out there who want to do that thing. Anyway, neither here nor there. Let me get into this idea. Should I approach girls who are out of my league? Look, you view yourself, first of all, more critically than anybody else does, for sure. Guaranteed. Everybody does, right? Everybody does. We are our own harshest critics. Okay, cool. That's the first thing you need to know. But the second thing you need to know is that the criteria women use for judging what you are on a scale of 1 to 10 is very different from what men use to judge women. We largely go based solely on physical attractiveness, right? And then from there, we can kind of move things up or down, like a point or two based on personality. Like, oh, she's a 6, but she's really, really sweet and kind and patient, and so like she feels like a 7. Okay, cool, right? But women view things completely differently. If you're showing, like I talked about the attraction triggers at the very beginning of this, the idea of like being rich, being famous, being hot, being tall, being whatever, those are different attraction triggers, and you can have different attraction triggers. So if you ask a girl, for example, let's take a more famous example. If you ask a girl what she thinks about Jack Black, right? You know Jack Black, the comedian, musician, actor guy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. You ask women what they think about Jack Black, and they're not going to tell you, yes, June, we are live now, right now on March 7th, 2024 at 11:10 p.m. Korea time. So if you ask her what she thinks about Jack Black, she's not going to say he's a 10, because women aren't thinking that way. But what she is going to say is like, oh my God, Jack Black, I love him, his style, and he's so funny. Oh, he would be so cool to hang out with. Would you like to go and like hang out with Jack Black? Would you go on a date with Jack Black? Oh, absolutely. Oh, he would be so much fun. Like, yeah, he's not the best looking guy. He's not fit. He's not that tall. He's scraggly as shit. But women are more attracted to him than some very good looking guy who's just boring as hell. So use the different attraction triggers. You don't know what she's going to see in you. And if you do a good job with your packaging, like I talked about earlier with your presentation, which parts of yourself you're showing, then you can become much more attractive than you think you are. in different ways. At the end of the day, like, yes, you should do that stuff, the introspective work, the work on your body, work on your mind, work on your mindset, all that stuff. Yes, absolutely. Are you out of her league? Who cares? Maybe, maybe not. Only one way to find out. Shoot your fucking shot. Shoot your shot, because maybe you're not out of her league, right? Like, I've dated women who were out of my league many times, but it doesn't matter, right? Because what they see in you is different from what you see in them. So stop worrying about it, right? This is just that's a mental exercise. Let's see here. Okay, June says cool. Yeah, June, welcome to the community, welcome to the crew. Antonio, can you create a Discord invite and put it into the comments there for June? June, if you want to hang out and talk with us in the Discord on the other days, we have a cool community. I assume by your name that you're probably out here in Korea as well. And we have a cool community here in Korea. We hang out most weeks, actually. And we have a good time. We talk. We share stupid memes. And we do these live streams and talk about how to improve your dating life and actually meet women. So Antonio is going to give you a Discord link invite where you can join us and talk to us some more. Now, our next myth. I think we still had a couple more. Oh, you're Filipino planning to move to Korea. Oh, okay, cool. We have
okay.
in the chat already, Lorenzo, who's also in the same situation as you. He's Filipino and planning to come back to Korea. He was here before. So yeah, like you'll fit right in, right? Anyway, Antonio, what's our next myth? If
I was trying to give the I'm gonna probably just give the invite to June while you're talking. So for the next myth then we have so this is from a member of the community. The girl I'm seeing is currently dealing with a shitty boss and constant migraines, probably related. So much so that it's been hard to find time to see her. How can I tell if she's trying to slowly distance herself from me, or if I just need to give her space? Yeah.
This is a tough one because it's going to be different in different situations, and you're going to have to kind of feel it out. Now, what you can do is you can basically kind of just tell her, right? And say like, look, it seems like you're really stressed about this thing, or ask her out on a date or to do something together that is about helping her deal with this stress. Maybe say like, look, you seem really stressed out lately, and I think that we should go and get couples massages, right? Let's go down to the Thai massage shop and we can get some massages there, and that'll help you to relieve some of your stress or something like that. I would suggest doing things together that address the problem, because if she says no to that, she's probably trying to distance herself or like slowly just let things die out. But if she's down to hang out and she's like, oh yeah, I have been stressed. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Let's go together. This will be great. Then you're probably okay. It's just like a work thing, and she maybe just needs space to chill out or to deal with her work stuff or whatever. But there's no guaranteed answer here. However, what I would say is whenever you find yourself in a situation like that, keep your skills sharp, because there's also a greater than zero chance that she's gonna ghost you soon, right? She might just leave and finish the relationship. So be prepared for that. It's possible. But yeah, like I said, talk to her, try to do something together that will help to address the problem.
I don't know. Honestly, I have a question for you on that too.
Sure.
Is there a way for us men to prevent the situation, like we feel like we know that either she lost interest or maybe there's not more the fire in the relationship. I'm gonna say it like that. And you
Yeah.
feel like she wants to leave, or maybe she wants to go to another guy or something like that. Is there any? Do you feel like there's something that you can do to turn the things around, or maybe you shall just let happen whatever happens?
So the problem with this is that most of the time, because men are not that perceptive emotionally, right? We are much more focused on the physical world. And so we tend not to notice things that are emotional like that. Most of the time, by the time you've noticed, it's already too late, right? So that's the biggest issue here. But if you do notice early, then what you can do there is you can call it out directly. Like you can say something like, you know, lately it seemed like you're feeling a little bit bored, right? You're feeling a little bit disinterested. Let's do something wild. Let's do something crazy to kind of get that back. And then you can do whatever, right? You can take a trip or go fucking streaking or put on some fucking maid outfit or whatever else. Now this is I'm assuming in the context of a shorter term relationship or like a girlfriend, a less serious relationship. Now, if you're talking about in a long-term relationship or a marriage or something like that, then it's more of a game of constant maintenance, keeping things at a good level with a nice spike every now and then. We did this thing, so it goes up and then it kind of chills out a little bit. And then we do a thing and then it goes up. And so whether that's weekly date nights or whether that's, taking her out to some restaurant that she really likes, or whether that's taking trips for holidays or things like that. Long-term maintenance is a little bit of a different game. But if you're in a shorter term or a less serious relationship, a girlfriend kind of thing, you can spike things for a little bit, but it probably doesn't fix the actual underlying problem. And it might just be too late at that point. So again, just like with the advice that I gave our community member who wrote in about his girlfriend distancing herself, be prepared for if she decides to break up.
Yeah, I see. Sometimes I feel like there is also out of the blue, though. Like, for example, everything feels well, or maybe at first, but then Kaput she just loses interest, or maybe she's bored, just like you said. So it's either it's us that do not predict that, or maybe there was something wrong there, like you said. But
It's never out of the blue, but you might not always know why it happens. There is a reason. There is something going on in her head that is changing the nature of the relationship. And and here's the thing is that honestly, women are awful communicators. They're terrible at communicating. They and so you have to try to drag information out of them, or what you can do is try to engage them on a more emotional level. It seems like you've been feeling this way. Why is that? Is there something that I can do to help you feel better? Talk more on the emotional level about how you think she's feeling, stuff like that, because that's what women are good at talking about. That's what they're good at explaining. This is also one of the reasons why couples therapy is shit for men, because most therapists are like, right, so let's talk about how you feel. How does this thing make you feel? And then men are like, what? No, like I don't know. I don't fucking care. Like it's not fucking important. But women can go on and on and on about how they feel, but they can't really tell you why or like what the thing was or what the trigger was or anything like that. It's all about emotion and how it's affecting them. And so if you're noticing that her emotions are changing, talk to her about the emotions. Talk to her on an emotional level. If you come at her with a what's wrong? What are you upset about? Women are terrible at answering this question, right? But if you say, it seems like you're feeling upset, is there anything I can do to help you feel better? Or do you want to talk about it? Or do you want to, vent a little bit? Or do you want to go get a massage or go get some ice cream or whatever else, right? Hit the emotional buttons instead of trying to talk about information. Because logic is never going to convince them to change their emotions. That does not work, right? You cannot logic a girl
You
back
can
into
try
a
to
relationship.
understand what they feel.
Yeah, and then you engage solely on the feeling level, right? If you try to bring logic into it at any point,
It's not gonna work.
you lose. The first time that you're like, no, listen, like you and I are a really good couple, and you can see that we've had these years together and we've done these things and we've done like you're going at it from a logical or like a check card or a scorecard kind of thing. And she's like, I don't care about any of that stuff. All that matters is how I'm feeling right now, this very instant. Nothing else fucking matters. Whether it's a good idea, a bad idea, it doesn't matter. This is how I'm feeling. And so I'm going to respond to that emotion right now. That's it.
Yeah.
So engage on the emotional level there. Now, I think we had one more question.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, girl I met, this is also another member from the community. Girl I met at a corner said that the things she did with me was first time ever after a long time, and also after one boyfriend ever. Although we keep in touch, she wants boyfriend and romantic stuff, and I don't. How to keep her around without demanding this? I take it as a game and a limited shit tests. So basically, he doesn't believe in romance. So he just went there for a one night stand, But she wants to keep the things going. I feel like, honestly, do not be an asshole about it, but be honest. That's what I will do, at least. I don't know about check.
Yeah, I mean, don't lie, right? But what I would do here is I would frame things different. Now, I talk sometimes about frame and how important it is. Here's the thing. The problem you have, not you, Antonio, but the guy who wrote in, the problem you have is that you are playing the game in her frame, right? You're playing this game of like, she wants to be boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't want to be boyfriend, girlfriend. And so but I do still want to keep hooking up. But how do I win at this game that she's basically set the rules to? You don't. You change the game entirely, right? You're not looking for a girlfriend. You're not trying to get a girlfriend. You're offering fun experiences, a great time. You're offering a really good connection and trying new things that you've never seen before. You're offering her a magic carpet ride, a whole new world. You're offering these things. And then while she's on the magic carpet ride, she's not going to be asking you like, oh, should we also do it? No, because she's not thinking about that because you have come in with such a strong frame of this is the thing that I'm going to be doing, that we're going to be doing. Here's what we're doing. Follow me. This is going to be awesome. Here we go. The problem is, like I said, you're already in her frame. So what I would do in this particular situation, you don't want to be boyfriend and girlfriend, but you do want to keep dating her, right? Cool. Say that. Say like, hey, look, I'm not sure about Korean culture, but where I'm from, boyfriend girlfriend it's a really pretty strong word, and so like I'm not
Yeah, I see those movies where even
I'm not
holding
ready.
hands.
I'm not interested, or like I'm not ready to commit to a thing like that with anybody. But what I do want is I want us to keep going on these dates and having a great time and experiencing things together and trying stuff together and learning and loving and laughing and all of that stuff. And we're gonna have a great time doing it. Now, if you feel like you have to have those other words, then maybe this isn't it. But all that I'm offering is just a ton of fun and a great time. So, speaking of which, drinks. Let's go get some drinks. And I would keep that thing going, right? I would change the frame entirely to like, we're dating, we're having a great time. Here's what we're doing. Here's what I'm offering, right? And, then just have fun and relax. And if she pushes it, right, and she might, right, you definitely want to make sure that she understands that y'all are just having fun, that it's not that serious, that it's, just we're having a great time before whatever else. Also, the guy who wrote this, aren't you leaving the country in like a month or something like that? Like, you could just say that and just be like, well, look, I understand and I appreciate that, but also, I'm just not here for that much longer. I plan on coming back later, but nothing is for sure yet. So maybe let's hold off on that. We can keep on having fun now. We can keep on talking and going on dates now. Have a great time. But we'll talk more whenever I get back and see how we're feeling then, right?
Yeah, one thing I think I missed one. It's not really a question. It's more like a statement.
Yeah.
Girls are perverts.
Yeah. All right. So he's offering the opposite of the myth, right? Which the myth is that girls are not
Oh, sorry,
perverts.
girls aren't perverts.
Yeah. He's saying like they definitely are, right? Like the myth though is this idea that that women are these like pure, innocent, angelic creatures who they would never think dirty, sexy thoughts at all, right? And it's like, bitch, do you know how well 50 Shades of Grey sold? Right? It was literally the best-selling book in the world.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you think about it, well, as men are perverts more on the graphic thing when you go on these sites and stuff. Girls are make the stories up their mind while reading. Like, yeah, it's kind of I don't understand how they do that, but like
girls are perverts in a different way than men are, right? So just like what I was saying before, where like men are very visual creatures, and we're just like, yeah, show us your tits. We love tits, right? Like we're fucking simple, right? But women are more turned on by like situations or like taboos, or they're definitely more turned on by words and concepts than pictures or images. Which again, like that's why 50 Shades of Grey is a bestseller in the world, but the hub's traffic is probably only about 5% women, right? Different kinds of things. There's a book, I read this like 10, 12 years ago, something like that. And I think it's called My Secret Garden or Her Secret Garden or something like that. I think Coot knows this book as well. This book goes deep into explaining a woman's sexuality and her fantasies and stuff like that. And it will really change the way that you understand women's sexualities, because while they are not the same as men, they are similar but different. Mm-hmm. Right? So women are definitely perverts. And also, you'd be surprised how much kinky shit girls are down to do. Like, I've talked to so many guys who say something like, "Oh yeah, I have this fantasy, but I'm not going to ask her. Like she would never do this thing." And I'm like, "Bitch, you don't
She
know.
totally worried about it first.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know. Listen. I've gotten bathroom blowies in a dive bar from a girl who was an absolute virgin." Right? Like, how did that happen? Because she had a fantasy about the situation, right? The situation turned her on. She was absolutely down for it. Now, I did not expect her to be down for it. I didn't think that would happen, but it did. How did I find out? Because I went for it, because I tried, right? You don't know. Give it a shot, because a lot of them, especially if you come in with a strong frame, with a leading frame, you can get girls interested in most anything if you do it the right way. If you come in with a leading frame, with a strong frame. If you come into it though and you're like, oh, you know what I would really like, like if how about if we bring like your cousin into the bedroom with us or whatever? Like, fuck, that's so weird, right? Don't be weird like that, right? Instead,
Yeah.
you want to be strong leading. You want to be more certain, more confident about it. Be like, hey, listen, I got this wild idea. Okay, lately, like things are getting a little bit samey. I have an idea to spice this up. You want to hear about it? You want to find out? Yeah. And make it make it a secret. And be like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. And then explain out the story, build the situation for her, use the words, and she's down. Or if you're like Coot, then just whenever she shows up, be like, hey, I got this weird outfit. Put this on. I'm going to tie you up, bitch. Right? Like, Coot always makes me laugh. I fucking love that guy. He's a trip. All right. Any more questions? If you guys in the live stream, if y'all have any more questions,
ask away.
Or Antonio, do you have any more questions or anything?
Okay, if I had to give you one question, like I will have like a whole list of things.
Yeah.
But I think that with all the live streams that I've been here, you've been answering over and over and over again. So basically, almost all of my questions. But let's see. This is probably not going to be very common for guys. Oh wait, John just asked the question. So is Korea good for passport bros? I work remote and do my own e-com biz. Can I go there for dating and do visa runs if I find a girl out there that becomes long term? Can I do passport runs?
Is Korea good for passport bros? So I don't know what the visa laws are like for people from the Philippines. I'm not sure how long your tourist visa is here. But I think most countries have a 3-month tourist visa. And you can leave the country and come back anytime. And it will refresh your visa. It's not hard to do visa runs. As for your passport or something, like you can just go to the embassy if you have passport issues. There's an embassy of the Philippines for sure over here, and you can just go over there and they'll deal with any passport stuff for you. But as far as visa runs go, it's cheap and easy. You can fly over to Japan for like, I don't know, probably less than $100 if you do it on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So if you're running an e-com business online and you're not locked into certain schedules, then yeah, you can just pop back over to Japan once every few months, or you can just go home to visit family sometimes and then come back. And it's not terribly tough. You will need to look into the details about the Philippines and Korea's relationship specifically, because I do not know the rules on that. And there might be certain restrictions. So look into that. But you can go there for dating and do visa runs find a girl out there that becomes long term. Yeah. If you're here for dating, right? Like that's awesome. Korea is fucking 5 stars, 10 out of 10. Do recommend, highly recommend. I'm a big fan of it out here.
Yeah,
And,
he just gave me a question. I feel like
yeah, what's your question?
Yeah, you know about the passport bros thing where men from the West just travel to the East to find more traditional women and stuff. That kind of movement. Have you ever heard about it?
Yeah. I've heard of that.
Yeah, and why do you feel like that is the case, in your opinion?
Because the West has been poisoned. Like they have a mind virus, right? You I don't want to go deep into that one because that will keep me here for like another 2 hours and definitely get me like kicked off or like get a strike against me or some shit.
Yeah.
But here's the important thing is that in other countries, women enjoy being around men. I'm not going to say more traditional. Like it's not like they're subservient. It's not like they're, fucking wearing kimonos and pouring me tea and shit like that. That's not what it is. It's just that they're actually fun to be around. They're generally happier and they enjoy just being together, right? They aren't all of the things that women in the West are these days. I obviously completely understand. Now, whenever I moved over here, passport bro wasn't a thing. Like that didn't exist as a concept yet. And I wasn't moving here for that purpose. But whenever I got here and I started meeting women and dating women here, and I found out like, oh, this is awesome. Like this is way better. This is fun. This is actually enjoyable. Oh my God. They don't just bitch and nag and moan all the time. This is great. Yes, I'm here for it. Yeah. So
Yeah, because
I can understand the passport bro thing, but also I feel like I should warn them that like it's not what you think. And if you suck at home, you're still gonna suck here, right? Like it's not.
No, I asked you because honestly, you said it yourself. Bitching, nagging. I mean, honestly for me, it's a common thing that is, coming out for girls in the West specifically.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe because of the TikTok brain fry, and stuff, and Instagram and all this garbage that completely kill the woman's expectations of relationships. That's the thing, because I've never heard like anything bad about this movement, honestly. I've only heard about positive things, which I feel like, honestly, I will give it a shot, to be honest. I will honestly do that.
The people who are against the passport bro movement are, first of all, they're disingenuous, right? Because it's usually just angry Western women who are like, you'll never find better, you suck, or like,
exactly.
It's like, you just want some woman you can boss around, and like, this is why I'm leaving, because you're a crazy bitch, right? But I should point out that if there is anybody who actually thinks that you get to, come over to an East Asian country and then like on landing, they stamp your passport and then hand you your ready-made girlfriend. Like that's not a thing. You don't get to date people just because you're white either. Like it doesn't work that way. You still have to not suck, right? The only difference is that the ways for you to not suck are increased, right? Like you have more potential attraction triggers when you are a little bit different. exotic is one attraction trigger. It's not the only one, and it's not enough to make up for having a shit personality or being an asshole, but it is an attraction trigger, especially for certain types of girls. The foreigner lover is her own type for a good reason. And so there are those girls who want to date guys from other countries because they also hate their own country for different reasons. So understand that like it's a lot more of a nuanced topic than most people make it out to be, but so are most things in the world, right? Did you have another question, Antonio?
Let's see. No, honestly, I think I do not. But in your experience,
Yeah.
what is the best place for, to actually meet high quality women to actually have a long-term relationship with?
You want to meet high quality women, you need to
Yeah,
go to places.
the kind of places that you think are most, in your experience at least, are more fit for this kind of thing.
You want to go to the places where high quality people go. So if you're looking for a high quality worker bee, go to high end networking events or go to lounge bars that are like after work bars that are near the downtown area or whatever else. Like imagine in your mind the type of girl you're trying to meet. So you need to understand the 14 types first, because your high quality woman is different depending on the different types, right? A high quality worker bee is very different from a high quality prude, is very different from a high quality husband hunter, is very different from, right? Like you get my point. So understand your type first, and then just imagine, right? Like with this type of woman, where would this type of woman go? Now, they don't go to the dirty dive bars that I like to go to, right? Which is perfect, right? Because then whenever, obviously back whenever I wasn't married, right? I mean, hell, even my wife, for our first date, I took her to this nasty, sleazy dive bar because she'd never experienced anything like that before in her life, right? She had only ever been to cool places, to nice places, to things with like lights that work and shit like that. Like this place was sleazy, skeezy. Oh, it was bad. But that was interesting to her. And so like, okay, cool. But I didn't meet her there, right? Like I met her at a language exchange because that's where that type of girl is going to be, right? Or actually on a language exchange app, but same. Anyway, focus more on the type, and then the where becomes kind of obvious if you think through, like get into her head and say, well, where would this kind of person go? Where would they go to a cafe? Would they be getting coffee from a cafe? Or would they be making coffee at home? Would they be grocery shopping at the local supermarket? Would they be shopping at Costco? Would they be shopping at big department stores? Where would this type of girl be? Would she be going to yoga classes? Would she be going to spin classes? Would she be joining a book club? Would she be in a wine tasting club? Would she be in a tennis group? Would she be think through basically everything except for bars and clubs, because generally speaking, the highest quality women aren't going to shitty bars and clubs, right? Now, hot women do, right? There are hot women who go to the bars and clubs, but that's totally different from high quality, right?
Yeah.
So once you figure out who it is that you're actually trying to look for, then you can get into their mind a little bit, and the where becomes almost easy to figure out. Yeah, exactly. Kind of obvious.
Yeah, I see. No, I understand. Honestly, I think I've got everything mostly covered.
Cool. Awesome. Well, then tonight
Yeah.
we have busted a ton of dating myths. We've made some new friends tonight. Welcome to the party, June.
Yeah,
Z-Meg,
for June, I can't put the link inside the chat for some reason, so
oh, you can't? Okay. All right. June, if you're still watching, go over to thesoulplayer.com. And that's soul spelled like the city, SEOUL, thesoulplayer.com. And at the top, there's a button that says community. And you should be able to click that link to join our Discord community.
thanks,
If for
guys.
some
No
reason that
problem.
doesn't work for you, you can email me at thesoulplayer@gmail.com is fine. And I'll hook you up from there and we can get that going and get you in. So for those of you watching, thank you so much for watching. This has been a long ass live stream. We're nearly 2 hours in. If you're still watching and you haven't done it yet, please hit that like button, hit the thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take very long, and it helps me tremendously. I view it as a personal favor. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for watching, and a special thank you to Antonio. Thank you for being here and helping me out. My beautiful assistant.
Is he gonna join the next live stream?
Who?
Could.
I don't know. Maybe. I didn't even see him in the chat today. He probably passed out. He's an early sleeper. But anyway, thank you guys for joining in. I hope you all had fun. I know I certainly did. And I'll see you next time. So until then, boys, Papa Jack out.